Hey everybody, ronarray here, and since GG in 0.4 changed Hollow Palm scaling, together with a few gems that have been utilized in Hollow Palm builds, a lot of people have been asking the question, is Hollow Palm currently dead? So in this video, I wanted to address it and showcase how exactly Hollow Palm is going to play in 0.4. I manually changed the PoE to showcase the numbers after the change, which will be very helpful in showcasing difference in scaling, difference in speed, and how exactly we are going to approach Hollow Palm builds from now on. Feel free to subscribe to the channel if you enjoy such deep dives when changes are coming, and check out my written guide. I'm going to keep updating it. In this video, I'm also going to showcase the gameplay exactly as it will be after the patch, and just believe me, it's still looking very good. Let's go. So first off, let's talk about what exactly happened. The biggest change is Hollow Palm Technique Keystone will now grant only 1% more attack speed per 75 item evasion rating on equipped armor item. It's previously been 25. And amount of crit that Hollow Palm is currently providing based on your energy shield is not changed, so only evasion rating transcended to speed is going to get affected. But there is an upside and buff as well. Based unarmed attack time is now 1.65 attacks per second, when previously it's been 1.4. So approximately it will be 18 to 20% more speed, especially while leveling. And that change with based unarmed attack time is going to make leveling experience for Hollow Palm even better. But how heavily that change with evasion is going to affect the endgame? So first off, let's take my character as the example. That's the character that I've been playing for almost the whole time, so it has a very good items together with a headhunter belt, and approximately my attack speed per second it's 15 attacks. I felt like that amount of speed felt pretty comfortable for me. It's not too fast, it's not too slow, and I've been able to control my character without a lot of issues. So for that character, I also set a path of building, which we're going to use as a reference. So here is path of building for exactly that character, which I'm going to use. And for that path of building, it has a little higher attack rate, as you can see, instead of 15 at 16, mostly because of small interactions which in-game are not really triggered consistently, such as tenfold attacks, for example, which gives 6% if you've been hit recently, or for example Crescendo, which is given 15% speed for attacks with supported skills, which are not final strikes. So looking at all of that, let me showcase the configuration that we are using for that character. We are using 50% more attack speed as custom modifier, mostly because path of building currently can't calculate Rigvel's ferocity 20% attack, Crescendo 15 more, and Rage 15 more. So Rage and Crescendo together 30, and Rigvel is going to be 20. So all of those supports together, which as you can see not supported in path of building, is going to lead us to 50% more attack speed modifier. And that character is set with a basic Hollow Palm, which we had before. So 1% more attack speed per 25 item evasion rating. So that's exactly the character that we are talking about. Now, if you will open your path of building folder and navigate to 3 data 0.3, there's going to be a file called 3.lua. If you will open that file, you can actually change the stats for Hollow Palm manually to calculate it in PoE. So I changed just that, and as you can see, I have a Hollow Palm technique with updated numbers in my path of building at the moment. So it's 1% more attack speed per 75 item evasion rating on equipped armor items. And as you can see, with the same character, instead of 15 attacks per second like 15-16 as I had before, I currently have 10. So we dropped from 15 to 10. But the big question, what we can change and how exactly it's going to feel? So first off, we will need to change our custom modifiers for that character. They changed Rigvel's ferocity, and instead of 20% more attack speed, they're going to generate 30% increased but they also added 20% more attack speed for Holopalm at base. So in the end, we are going to have 48% more attack speed together with 30% increased attack speed from Rigveld's Ferocity. Those 18 are coming from just a basic change. So at the moment, Rigveld Ferocity is going to be increased, Rage is going to give 15, Crusader is going to give 15, so that's like 30 together, and 18 from the basic change. So we are going to end up with 48% and 30% increased attack speed. So in the end, with the same items, I would have 11 attacks per second with the same gear that I had, instead of 15, which is... But it's not the end of that. GG also changed the socket interaction, and if before we've been using absolutely amazing gloves, as you can see, for 40% increased attack speed just from gloves itself, right now we will be able to use only one Talisman of Sirius. So here it goes, and it's going to have only 16% increased attack per second, leaving us with 10.31's attack rate without changing the tree, which in my opinion is not horrible as well. It leading us to another interesting question: how 10 attacks per second are going to feel in game? So is it going to feel too slow, or is it going to feel too bad? So here I have a very good example for you. So right here I change my character in the game, so I will have 10 attacks per second, and here is the speed that we are ending up with. So as you can see, character is not amazingly fast anymore, but it's still pretty viable even with 10 attacks. I'm absolutely sure while changing the tree we can make it even better, and I'm going to cover it a little later in this video as well. So even like that, I still believe it should be pretty comfortable to play, because you're moving forward without a lot of issues, and it's still feeling pretty fast compared to just running around, especially considering that GG is nerfing movement speed once again, so moving with Tempest Flurry is still a decent option. So after some changes, I believe we can end up with something like that as a final variation of the build, reaching almost 11 attack per second compared to 15 that we had before, and that way we will still be kinda fast, but not too fast comparably. So the build is slowing down together with the whole meta, because movement speed is going down as well, and almost all builds in the meta is probably going to feel slower compared to what we had before. And with such stuff, we can end up with almost 11 attacks per second while wearing a Headhunter belt. And I think if we will dedicate bigger part of the tree, for example, to get attack speed from Falcon technique, or try to reach acceleration, we can reach even higher numbers. First off, let's talk about mana here. So Walker of the Wilds got completely deleted out of the game, so Mana Leech recovers based on elemental damage types instead of physical damage is not viable anymore, it's not going to be here. You will be able to add it as a support, but I'm not exactly sure we will need it. At the moment when I've been testing, I think with a build which will have a ring like that with about 8-10% of physical attack damage leached as mana, we will deal enough physical damage to leech mana and feel comfortable. So as you can see, my Tempest Flurry is not dealing crazy amount of physical, but here comes the saving part. When we are talking about Staggering Palm is dealing significantly more physical damage even with Projectile, and I believe that physical from Staggering Palm will be enough to leech mana in good enough way to make sure we're not losing it. If it will not be enough, I think it would be smart to use 2 rings like that, so instead of 1 ring we will run double ring with leech physical attack damage as mana. And as another option, since our Projectile from Staggering Palm is still doing pretty decent amount of lightning damage, I believe we will be able to use the support from Walker of the Wilds at the Staggering Palm skill, or as another option at Charge Staff skill. Both variations are going to provide Mana Leech, and I think mana is going to be absolutely alright across the whole build progression. So another change what GG added is pretty much nerfing the combos and big hits that we are doing with Fallen Thunder. So right here for Fallen Thunder, Culmination is getting nerfed. Right now it will be literally maxed out at 20 combos. So right here we can see the change for Culmination to it will now get capped at 20 and will get 2% more damage per combo. So at the maximum combo is going to give 40% additional damage, which is still absolutely amazing, but we will need to use our Fallen Thunder multiple times to defeat harder bosses, which is going to be less comfortable for sure. However, I don't think it's going to kill our big hit potential completely, especially since we will be able to stack power charges instead. So previously in the build, since we had combos, we never stacked power charges anywhere except overflowing power. But right now, I believe adding both power within and last for power is going to be mandatory for that big bonk, because it's just going to feel better in general. And you will be able to use both Fallen Thunder or just a Flicker Strike as an option to deal that big hit damage. We will need to test Fallen Thunder against Flicker Strike when the patch will come online, but I think both of them are going to be viable with the same kind of skills. So like with Ambrosia, Inevitable, Culmination, Elemental, and Overextended. I have all that covered in the guide already. And you will just need to generate charges together with Culmination and Else Chime, which is practically not changed, and use a basic attack together with L Chimes for generation. And the last part is Nova Projectiles. We've been using Nova Projectiles before to clear with staggering PoE, and right now Nova Projectiles no longer cause supported skills to gain 4 additional projectiles, or supported skills now deal 40% less damage. But the question that comes here is like, what exactly Nova Projectiles is even going to do in that case, like Nova Projectiles 1? Is it just going to give us projectiles are fired in a circle? In that case, we will be able to still utilize this and have an amazing clear, because we can use multi-shot together with Nova Projectiles 1 to heal those projectiles in a circle instead of a ricochet, and we will be able to hit a lot of enemies with projectiles all over again, without losing much, because only chain from terrain is going to get worse. And added Nova Projectiles 2, causing supported skills to gain 6 additional projectiles, deal 50% less damage and applying cooldown time of 8 seconds to supported skills. I believe that Nova Projectiles 2 is not going to be properly playable with our build. So unfortunately, I think it's out of the question. But the big question is how exactly Nova Projectiles 1 is going to work. So at worst, we will lose Nova Projectiles completely, so no projectiles in the circle, and we will need to just hit projectiles in front of us. In that case, we can still use multi-shot or staggering palm, which is going to help us a lot with ricochet and hitting a lot of enemies. I'm going to showcase that in the gameplay a little later in this video. So with this character, I have 10.87 attack speed per second, together with the Headhunter belt, and right now I'm just going to showcase how it clearing maps, especially without Nova Projectiles, and on top of it, without Walker of the Wilds as well, so no Manifix and no Nova. So as you can see, the gameplay is still looking very comfortable. I don't have gloves on my character, so speed is significantly lower, and that's exactly the speed that we are going to get after the patch. It's especially good when we are getting buffs from Headhunter. I also want to emphasize that I don't have any kind of gloves on my character to just make sure that speed is according and like literally the same like we'll have after the patch. So the damage is definitely going to be higher. And the whole situation with just running multi-shot at Staggering Palm is fixing it in terms of damage just fine, because you're still shooting a lot of projectiles and you're still getting like ricochet. So even if Nova Projectiles is going to get nerfed completely, we can still run multi-shot and it's going to look pretty comfortable. So for the boss example, I decided to practically fight the boss in the same condition, but drop Culmination completely from the build, so I'm not using combos for Fallen Thunder. And even if we will probably still use combos in 0.4, I believe that that's a very good test. And as you can see, my damage against King in the Mist, for example, is good enough. I practically killed him very fast, and it's been like one big hit for 70% of his life without a single issue. You just need to stack 7 power charges and click the Fallen Thunder, even if you will not have combos at the skill at all. We obviously need to keep in mind that my items are very good, and if you will have like weaker build and like worse items in general, maybe you will need to use Fallen Thunder twice, but it's still not a big issue, and as you can see, the damage is still there. So after all the changes, I believe Hollow Palm is still will be pretty much playable, even if the build is going to be slower. And our general damage, especially from one click, is going to be lower as well. We're still going to feel pretty fast and pretty strong across almost all types of gameplay. We will also completely retain the tankiness, reaching 60-65% of evasion with very good gear and reaching huge energy shield like 8-9k based on what kind of gear you have at the moment as well. That will make the build more than viable for almost everything PoE 2 can throw at you, especially after GG going to remove Delirium from your map so you can't run high daily anymore. It will lead to the situation when maps in general like Waystones are going to be significantly easier, and even with less damage we are still going to feel very comfortable across it. I'm probably going to do a separate video for League starting Hollow Palm a little later, so stay tuned for it if you're interested in it. I believe that with basic speed change, Hollow Palm is going to be even more comfortable to League start with, and I'm definitely looking forward to it. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time. ronarray out.